a massive, and I mean massive opportunity for the Indiana Fever to trade for a player to make a big impact has come up. So we all know, and we're like, oh yeah, Aliyah Boston's hurt. And Aliyah's injury sounds pretty rough. It sounds pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. Like, Aliyah's injury, like, she was injured for 2 months, comes back and within 2 weeks re-injures the same thing. By the sounds of things. I don't know. I could be completely wrong with all this. But Stephanie Whiting is day-to-day. Caitlin Clark was day-to-day, and she ended up being injured for 4 months. So, you just never know. You just never know. And you've now got an opportunity to trade for a player. And there are a lot of situations where the Indiana Fever can make this trade work. And it is with the Atlanta Dream for Sika Kone. Sika Kone is a player that was expected to be a key contributor for Atlanta this year. The expectation by a lot of people was that Sika Kone was going to be one of backup 4 or 5s, and that Medina Okot was going to have to take a little bit of time to get ready for the WNBA. The question is that the Indiana Fever fucked up badly. They fucked up badly by not drafting Okot. And look, I understand it very raw. I get why. The Indiana Fever don't want to develop anybody because they already are developing Timpson. But look, they messed up. It is what it is. It's a hindsight 2020 mess up. I wasn't that angry at the time they passed up on her. So hindsight 2020. But what has now happened is that Medina Okot is playing so well that there is a really good center/power forward hybrid that is not getting burned for Atlanta. And Sika Kone. Sika Kone is born in July 2002. She is 2 months older than KK Timpson. So that's the age. She is currently coming off an MVP season in Spain. She is the Liga Endesa MVP. That matters. That really does matter. So Spain is probably the second best pro league, probably the best pro league overall overseas. So the Spanish league had, the Liga Endesa had, if you look at EuroLeague, yes, the 2 best teams are from Turkey. But if you look at the rest of the teams that were at the top, Valencia, Girona, Zaragoza, that were competing, all Spain. Spain's probably the best overall top to bottom international league. Even over France, I would say. So, Sika Kone this year in Spain averaged 15.6 points per game. 9 rebounds per game and won an MVP. Again, not the greatest shot blocker from looking overseas, but again, there's no way it's that bad. I've remembered her blocking a couple of shots in the W. But she is a 4-5 who isn't a bad defensive player at all. And could be available for Dantas in a third. Could be available straight up for KK. Could be available for Shatori Walker-Kimbrough in a third. Like that type of thing. She hasn't scored a point this year. This is a player who has at times in their career had stages where they've looked good, has had stages where they've looked bad, has had stages where they've had 5-game spells where they've looked pretty good. Like in 2024, she averaged 9 points per game. She averaged 9 points per game in 16 minutes per game when she was with Washington. And then Washington signed her, waived her, Atlanta signed her, waived her, and Atlanta signed her again. This is a player who is going to be a WNBA player, is very much a case where she's raw. There are definitely things where you're like, oh, don't love this better game. But the level gap between a Sika Kone and a KK Timpson is big. Is big. Like, Sika Kone is significantly better. And she's somebody that was absolutely going to be in the running for a decent contract with a different team. But Atlanta had her reserve rights and signed her on a minimum. She was supposed to be playing. She started in preseason. Like, she was meant to be a key piece of the rotation in Atlanta. The problem is, through no fault of her own, Medina O'Connor is better than her. And look, if the Fever could do it over, they would take Medina O'Connor in that draft. I think we all know that. If they could do it over, they would do that. That being said, they have an opportunity to trade for somebody who will come in and make an impact. And look, there's no Emma Chakovas available. I've been keeping an eye in overseas. I've been keeping an eye on a lot of things going on. There's none of these super athletic, there's none of these super athletic shot blockers that can run the floor. Like, Chakova was one of one. She is one of one. All I'm going to say is that this is a player that is significantly better than Dantas, that is significantly better than KK. And again, an MVP in a league that is significantly better than the league that KK played in. Like, that means something. That does mean something. And previous MVPs of the Spanish league before her, I think it was Kennedy Burke last year, and the 2 years prior to that was Leo Fibish. Like, she's in good company. She's in good company with MVPs of that league. So I personally do think that Sika Kone is somebody that the Indiana Fever can absolutely trade for, because look, is she the perfect player? No. But they had an entire free agency period to try to find a perfect player, and they fucked it up. Beggars can't be choosers, and there is a shortage of athletic bigs. There is a serious shortage of athletic bigs. So, yeah, it's one of those things when it comes down to it. From for the Fever, you've just got to make the best of what you can, and finding a way to trade for Sika Kone. Because I'm gonna be honest here, the Atlanta Dream will have no issue trading Kone, because she's just not in the rotation. She's just not in the rotation. And it is one of those things where there are good players that aren't in rotations of teams because they have too many players at certain positions. And there are bad players that are in rotations because their team is low in certain positions. But when it comes to it, Sika Kone is she is genuinely a high level player who's had a really, really good season overseas, who unfortunately is in a situation where she hasn't really got a chance to playing because there's a rookie that is just better than her. She was supposed to be playing. The rookie's just better. Anyway, I'll see you guys.